Alright, we're gonna do some stuff. So far we have 3 levels, right? All three of these levels involve bullets. Classic bullet projectiles. But in today's video I want to do something a little different. Instead of bullets, I want level 4 to involve walls, obstacles. So if I have to give an example, let's imagine that this is an obstacle. This obstacle will have a gap right here. I'm just giving an example. So this obstacle will spawn here, go from here to the other side, while the player has to move through the gap right here to pass through the obstacle. And when the obstacle goes to the other side, it will be destroyed. That's the simple logic. So we'll create a new scene right here. Basic built-in. Sure. First things first, let's save this. Now I want to copy this wall scene into our level 4. Now to create our wall obstacles. Our wall obstacles are gonna be prefabs, so let's open up our prefab folder. We're gonna create a new folder called level 4, where we'll store our wall obstacles. Now I'm gonna create two wall prefabs. So the first prefab is gonna have its gap right here at the bottom, and the other prefab is gonna have its gap here at the top. So to create our prefabs, I think we can just copy one of the health bars. Actually, let me just skip this. Alright, we have our prefab right here, our wall structure. As you can see, we have a gap right here. The gap is big enough for our player character to comfortably move through it. You can see. So now we're gonna make this a prefab. Since these are two individual objects, we need to merge these in one object. So we're gonna create an empty object. Let's call it wall. Let's call it wall 1. And then we can call the other prefab wall 2. So we're gonna select these, go here. We're also gonna name this part 1. Actually, we can do bottom parts and top part. Now we'll take these and drag it into our prefab folder. I'm gonna cut the video and then continue when I created the second wall prefab. So see you there. Alright, we got this right here. It's just our first wall object, but just the two parts are positioned differently. So this is gonna be our wall 2 now. We're gonna select this and also drag it into our prefab folder. We do want to create a new empty object though. So this is already a prefab, you can see right here. This is an instance of our wall 1 prefab, so we can't make this a new prefab. We can, but it's complicated. Instead, we'll get these two parts and then paste them into this wall 2. What? This sucks. What about this? There we go. Jeez. Okay. We're gonna delete this. Alright, we have our wall 2 right here. Now we're gonna put this into our prefabs there. So we have the bottom, we have the wall with the bottom gap, and we have the wall with the top gap. That's all we need right now. We don't need to create more prefabs. These two are enough to create a basic idea. Now in this level we don't want our enemy object to shoot bullets, but instead we want our enemy to spawn our walls. So our enemy spawns a wall right here. The wall goes and reaches the other side, gets deleted. The enemy object creates another wall, and that's a loop. So for that we need to create a new script. Going to our scripts folder, we're going to create a new sub folder, level 4. What did we call these? Enemy behavior 3. Alright, we're going to do the same here. Wait, hold on. Okay. Behavior 4. I think that's all the new scripts we need. That's all the new scripts we need for our level 4. We don't need a new player objects, player behavior script, and we don't need a new bullet script. Opening our enemy behavior 4 scripts, let's get coding. I think in this script I want our enemy to move in the x-axis. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna copy our enemy behavior script from the second level. Now we're gonna delete this method, the fire spray method, because the boss on this level is not gonna fire bullets. We'll also delete this. Then we will delete these. Good. Now we need two new variables, two game object variables. Public game object wall1 top gap. I guess we can call it that. Top gap is gonna be our wall1, actually wall2, and bottom gap is gonna be our wall1. We're gonna make a script span right here. Script span. What was the word? Script swap right here. So we got rid of the enemy behavior 3 scripts. In space, we're gonna put enemy behavior 4 scripts into our enemy object. Now we have two slots here. We're gonna fill these with our two newly created wall prefabs. So wall1 is the bottom gap, okay. Bottom gap, and then wall2 goes here. Okay. Alright, now here's what we're gonna do. At every frame, so in the update method, our enemy object is gonna run an RNG, a random number generator. The first RNG is gonna be to select the prefab. So it will be to select if we're gonna create a bottom gap wall or a top gap wall. And then afterwards we're gonna create a second RNG. We're gonna run a second RNG, and that's gonna be for the determining the direction of our wall. So we're gonna need to determine if our wall prefab is gonna spawn on the left or on the right. Okay, now that I explained that, let's get back to our script and create two more variables. So let's call them private int which wall, and then private int which direction. Then we can also create a third one, span chance. So with each frame in our update methods, we can say something like span chance equals to random range from 1 to, let's say, 100. What? Oh, range. Okay. So with every frame, or spawn chance is gonna be assigned a different value from 1 to 100. Or actually, I think it was from 1 to 99. It's probably 99. But anyway. After we assigned spawn chance a value, we're gonna create an if statement, and we're gonna write if spawn chance equals to 99, for example. Then we're gonna run our first RNG, which is actually technically this is our first RNG, or second RNG, which is which wall random range from 1 to 3, because the 3 is gonna be exclusive. So we're gonna have 1 and 2. It's also the same with this. It's gonna start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and go all the way to 99. But we're not gonna have 100 from this. Then or third RNG, which direction, random range. Then after all of this is done, we're gonna run a new method. Let's call it void spawn wall. So we're gonna call that here after we determine everything else. Spawn wall. We're gonna have a new variable here. Vector 3. What should this name be? Wall position. So we're gonna check if which direction is 1. Then we're gonna assign a value to our wall position. So what should it be? Let's see. The X value is gonna be 17. This is gonna be actually and then our Z is gonna be there. Now can we copy all this? Let's see. Oh, nice. Okay. And then else if which direction equals to 2, and then wall position new. We're gonna do the same here. Next we checked our which direction variable right here, and now next we're gonna check our which wall variable. We're gonna create a second if statement, which wall to 1, and then else if which wall equals to 2. This is where we're gonna start spawn our wall prefabs. Instantiate which wall 1 could be top gap wall, and then we have our wall position pattern in identity. Why are you giving an error? Why? That doesn't help. Do we need to assign a default value? I think we need to do that. Let's try. Oh, okay, there we go. It's that simple. Okay, now we're gonna paste this here, but instead of top gap wall, we're gonna create a bottom gap wall. Then actually, let's also do something like this: game objects, enemy wall, paste, then enemy wall, game object tag, enemy wall, enemy obstacle. There. We have this so far. Let's test this to see if this is working properly. So, hold on, let me get rid of this. We assigned our script to our enemy behavior. Okay. Let's see. Ooh. What? Why are you in different? Oh. Shit. What happened? What the fuck happened? Oh, I think I need to take a look at this. Take a look into the script, because this is not working. Hold on. So we definitely need to increase this. Then we're gonna replace this with this. Oh shit. That's not much better. No, that's not. Man. What? Damn. Do I need to increase it more? Okay, we have one wall. Okay, that's okay, we'll take a look into that. Let me see. How about I do something like this? Will that help? I hope so. No, that didn't help. Why? Oh man, what the fuck do I do now? Man, this sucks. Hold on, give me a second. I'll try something different. Right, how about this? I'll test this and explain it if it works. If it doesn't work, I'll just skip. I'll just cut it. Let me also fix this. What was this value before? 3000. Okay. Okay, that works. I think. So let me explain. So in my previous version of or spawn wall method, I was giving both or top gap walls and bottom gap walls the same coordinates. But now we're first checking our wall, which wall it is, and then after the wall is determined, we check the direction, and we give each wall its unique positions, coordinates. So this is working for now. We also need to change the spawn rate, but we'll settle that later. Actually, we can just change that now. What will be best? Maybe something like this. Is this too much? Okay, so we have one wall. I know I can put the spawning on a timer, but I don't want to do that. I want the spawning to have some random elements. So I'm not using a timer for the wall spawning. Okay, whatever. The only thing that matters is that our two wall prefabs are spawning with no problems. The only problem is that our enemy and player objects can collide with the walls, but we can fix that. Actually, let's fix that now. What I have in mind is creating a new layer for walls. So we can create a new layer for these and then make it so the wall layer and or enemy and player layer don't collide with each other. I think that's the simplest way, so we'll create that. We already have our enemy and player layer here. We're going to create a new layer that will be called enemy obstacle. Now we're gonna what? Sure, whatever. Okay. Now to project settings, we're gonna open up our layer collision matrix, and we're gonna find enemy obstacle. We want to make so our enemy obstacle layer don't collide with our enemy and player layer. So let's see if that works. The enemy is now gonna spawn a wall, and the enemy shouldn't collide with it. There we go. Actually, I thought of something much simpler. Can we delete this? Can. No. Instead of making these walls colliders, maybe we can make them triggers instead. Let me try that. We're gonna make these parts is trigger. We're gonna do the same here. Okay, are all parts triggers? These are. What about these? And these are. Okay. Now that these two guys are triggers instead of colliders, we can make use of our onTriggerEnter method. So instead of doing work with layers and the layer collision matrix, we're gonna create an addition in our player objects, player behavior script. So for that, I actually need to create a new player behavior script. For player behavior 4. Shit, not 3. What am I doing? 4. Okay. We're gonna copy this, the script from our third level, and paste it here. Now we're gonna make a small adjustment here. We're gonna create a second if statement. So we're gonna write if other trans is game object. Hold on. Game object, then no, then it's, yeah, there we go. Parents tag, is that how it works? Object tag name object tag equals to name object. I am not sure if this is gonna work. I am not sure, but we'll check. We'll test if it works. Is this true, by the way? Hold on. Oh, we forgot about a part here. Game object enemy wall. We need to give a tag to these walls so that this code here can work. Then what did I do? Enemy wall, game object tag equals to enemy obstacle. Now this is gonna work. At least I hope so. Okay, now we need to set up the logic of what happens when our player character touches an enemy obstacle. We also want the health bar to be reduced, but when we touch an obstacle, we want the damage to be greater. So instead of 1, we'll make it something like 3, maybe. So we don't want to do this. At least I don't want it. We don't want to destroy the wall upon impact with the player character. So let's do a script swap. Player behavior. All right. What? Why is this setting? Hold on. Object reference not. Oh, what? What just happened? Where's the... What? Let me try that again. What the fuck? Man, this sucks. Spam something. Come on, come on. Okay. All right. Man, there are so many things I need to optimize. What the fuck? Alright, let's create a check here. Other transform parents. Now. Right. That will probably work. Errors? Any errors? No. Okay, good. Fuck. Alright. No matter how clumsy it is, we are making progress. Now, our wall obstacles are spawning in properly. We still need to adjust the spawn rate, but we'll do that later. And when our player object touches one of the wall obstacles, our health drops, or health bar drops, gets smaller. We also need to make small adjustments. Let me see if I can do something like this. Double scale. Yeah, no, okay. Goes this much. Goes as such. Hotbar. Transform the scale. When our health bar reaches 0, we want the health bar to stay at 0. Because Unity can't work with negative scale values. So when our health bar scale is equals to or lower than 0, we'll set it to 0. I thought this will be easier, but nope. So we have a wall right now. Take a hit, another hit. Okay, good. our health bar is now 0, not at a negative scale, because previously it was at a negative scale and that gave an warning. So I fixed that. Now we have the function to spawn in our walls, and we have the function for wall player triggers, collisions. Just we can spawn walls, we can touch walls. Now we're gonna make our walls move. I said in the earlier in the video that I want my walls to move from one side of our arena, whatever you wanna call it, from the other. So we'll do that by creating a unique script for walls, a wall behavior script. Going to our scripts folder, level 4 subfolder, we're going to create a third script for level 4, wall behavior. Now we're going to assign this to our wall prefabs. Also, I'm hungry as fuck, hold on. I'll go get a snack and then continue the video, hold on. Alright, I'm back. I had some grub. Now, where the fuck was I kinda forgot. Alright, the wall behavior script. Okay, I remember now. So right now our enemy object can spawn in our wall prefabs, and our player object can interact with the wall objects, the wall prefabs. Now all we need to do is make our wall prefabs start moving. As I said, if a wall prefab spawns here in the right side, then it will need to move to the left side. And if a prefab spawns in the left side, it will move to the right side. And in addition to that, we need to create some sort of bounce system for our wall prefabs, because we don't want our wall prefabs to linger in our scene forever. We need to recycle them, delete the instances that we no longer use. So we have a few methods to do this, to implement this bounce system, but I think I'll do it with this. So I'll create two trigger objects. One of them is gonna be here and the other is gonna be here. And when a wall instance hits one of these triggers, the wall instance is gonna be destroyed, deleted from the scene. So we'll do just that. Let's create an empty object in our hierarchy. I'll call it, what should I call it? Wall triggers. Then we're going to create two 3D objects in this. Let's make them cubes. There's one, and there's the other. Left trigger. Actually, we can call them rights. Right, wall bounce. Why not? So we have these guys here. We want to disable these guys mesh renderers. We need these to be present in our scene, but we don't need to see them. These will still work even if we disable their mesh renderers. So we have one bounce here. We're gonna scale this up. Actually, I think for now I'll enable the mesh render to make this easier to see. So we have one of the bounds here. Okay. Now we're gonna copy this, paste. Also, this needs to go here to the other side. We can also pull this right bounds just a little bit further. Instead of 20, we can make it 21. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now we have two bounds here. Now we're gonna disable these mesh renderers because we're done with the positioning. We're gonna make these two objects triggers instead of colliders. Then we're gonna add a rigid body to both of these bounce objects. Rigid body, there it is. And then do the same for this. Okay. Now I think that's all in order. Now we're gonna continue with beginning to code our wall behavior script. So let's open that up. We'll start with giving our wall objects a speed variable, private float speed. Afterwards, we need a direction variable. Direction. We'll leave that blank for now. Anything else? I don't think we need any more variables than that. So this is what I'm gonna try doing. I don't know if it will work, but I'll try. So in our scripts start method, I want to create. In the start method, I want to run an if statement. So a wall instance spawns. Let's say the instance spawns here. We'll run an if statement and check if our wall instance is on this side or on this side. So we'll check the instances. We'll check the wall instance's position, specifically its x position. And depending on its x position, we're gonna determine its direction variable. But anywho's, we're gonna start with this. If transform position x bigger than 0f, direction should be 1. Else if then afterwards, in the update method, we're gonna start moving our wall instances after we determine its direction value. So we determined its direction, and with that value, we're gonna write transform translate Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. Come on, spawn a wall. Spawn something. Come on. Oh. Nah, that doesn't work. Why? Am I supposed to do the opposite? Let me try the opposite. Come on, man. Man, this sucks. But fine, I'm adjusting this. Cool, okay. Now we can move through this, okay. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay, that's a little bit complicated, okay. But it's working. That's fine, that's fine. It's working so far, our walls are moving. So now all we need to do is make our walls interact with our bounce objects right here. So when a wall object touches an bounce object, the wall object is gonna be destroyed. So we're gonna do that by creating a new method in our wall behavior script. Void on trigger enter. If other game object name equals to or how do I do there? Other game object name equals to right wall bounce. That's the name, right? Hold on. Right wall bounce, okay. So if that's true, then destroy game objects. Oh, what? That's unexpected. Okay. So, let's try this. Is this gonna fall? Yep. Is it a height issue or? Yeah, no. I'm missing something. Hold on. Untick this maybe. There, perfect. Alright. We're gonna untick use gravity so that these two bounds don't fall off. I'll also raise these guys. Raise the two bounce objects. 0.6 and 0.6. Now our walls should ideally get deleted once they exit the arena and hit our bounce objects. Let's see if it's gonna work. No. Why? Why did you not work? Oh wait, hold on. I think I have an idea. It's probably because the trigger event doesn't happen because our wall prefabs don't have a rigid body. So let's open one of these up in the prefab mode. The two parts here have a box collider, but our parent object, the wall object itself, doesn't have a collider or a rigid body. So since our script is attached to our parent object, the script can't detect any trigger events without a rigid body. So to fix this, we'll do this. Instead of giving these two guys rigid bodies, we'll remove these. Remove this and remove this. Instead, we're gonna add rigid bodies to the parent objects in our wall prefabs. So clicking on this, let's add a rigid body to this, and then another to this. I wonder if this is gonna fix it. Let's see. The player interaction is still working fine. Come on. Perfect, alright, it's working now, cool. Okay, now that we have a system, a basic gameplay loop, let's adjust our, where was it? Let's adjust our wall spawn rates to a better value. So instead of 1000, we can make it 5k. This is kind of boring to be honest, but it's okay. Oh, what? I can't get past that. What? But anyway, that's our level 4 right here. I think that's finished. At least I'm done with it. It has a pretty simple gameplay loop. On an endless loop, wall obstacles are spawning and you need to move to dodge them. It's as simple as that. We can later adjust some variables like the movement speed of our walls and their spawn rate, but for now we can leave this as it is. I have a video idea in the future. In a later video I'm gonna rebalance all of my levels so far so that they are all playable and a little more fun. But anyway, that's it.